But for most of those songs, when he comes to me and says, all right, I got this song and I got this song, then I'll take that, I'll make a voice memo of it, and then I'll make not a substantial demo, but this could be something. I'll program some drums, some bass, blah, blah, blah. I'll spend a half a day on it. Then I can pitch it to Redman, I can pitch it to Louie and Shelley, and it helps us pick songs. But needless to say, it's a lot of work to make these little demos for not everyone. I wasn't making like 40 demos, but it was like 20, something like that. It was just helpful. And this would have been like 5 days before. And I'm running a little ragged, start rehearsals, and we've been going through these demos, just song meetings. And Matt was running a little ragged too, because he had been hitting it hard. Writing, refining. He was running a little ragged. And I remember him coming over to the house. This is when we lived in Atlanta. He was somewhat apologetic. Mate, he's like, I got one more song. Well, I just finished it last night. And so just see what you think. We don't have to use it. It's not, again, we're 40 songs deep. He goes into, bless the Lord, oh my soul. Oh, starts singing me 10,000 Reasons. I feel like it wasn't any genius part on my end. I think anybody that was sitting where I was sitting would have been like, wait, what is that? Like, that's my favorite song. Matt's reaction was like, really? I was like, no, that's like my favorite one out of all of these that we've been going through. Really? We have to do that song. Okay. So my lesson in it was I didn't have time to make a demo for it. And I didn't have time to come up with a zippy guitar line and a zippy programming and all that. What I had time for was like, we just had to go straight into rehearsal. And I was like, well, I'll just play the I'll just play the piano part. Jacob was playing drums, Jacob Arnold. Y'all just play a thing and we'll throw it at the end of the set. It'll just be a quick thing. Sure enough, 10,000 Reasons became what it was.
From one of the takes where the band, you barely all knew it,
made it out into the world, was that live recording. Did you mix that record?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I mixed 10,000 Reasons.
That's right, you did. Okay.
So the thing that I remember was, you sending me all the multis. When that song came on and the first pass, just listening to it,
what did you think?
I was like, oh, this is good. When that line comes, 10,000 Reasons for my heart to sing, and forevermore, those lines and just the whole, I don't know what it is. It's the package of everything just came together.
What's fun to think is that was the third single. I remember having the conversations with Shelley and Brad O'Donnell at Capitol, but it was like, okay, this 10,000 Reasons record ran its course, so at the tail end of this thing, I can't remember what let's just put out 10,000 Reasons as a final single, because we've kind of done the arc of this record and we'll move on to the next one. Everything about it was just not overthought. And it was not a result of a room full of people like, all right, what's the perfect worship song that's going to resonate for generations to come?
Well, the funny thing with that song too was it was so underproduced. I've just discovered this podcast called Song Exploder.
Oh, no, I need to listen to it.
Oh, it's great. And I just listened to the one about Everybody Wants to Rule the World, where the guys are talking about parts and are incredible. And all the different parts. Well, your song doesn't have any of that, but it does have one thing.
Boom, boom.
The three kick hits.
Which I got to say was Redman's idea, and where he got it from was Disney's Robin Hood.
What?
Right, I know. If you go back and listen to like the Robin Hood where like Robin Hood's like a fox, it's like that Disney one from the 60s or 70s or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a song in there, and I don't know if it's the end credits, but I think the Friar is singing it. It's like, or the dude with the banjo and that. And that's where Matt actually got that. He was like, hey, what if we in that moment just do a 10,000 Reasons. So there you go. Disney's Robin Hood.
And I remember thinking to myself, it's so slow. How can this be a hit?
Right. I know. Why I think that's even more encouraging now, even talking with my son, who's 25, and he's in the mainstream producing, and he's in some crazy big rooms. And we have these discussions all the time of all this AI stuff. He just has to kind of ignore it and keep his head down and keep writing music and get better at that. To your point, 10,000 Reasons had no fancy part. Didn't have this, it didn't have that. The original versions kind of sounded like 5 people playing music. I think there's only like 800 people in the room singing the song together. It was a beautiful song. I don't know that there's going to be anything to replace that. Even if AI could directly copy that to the final 1 and 0, I think there's more to it than the 1s and 0s. Obviously, there's something spiritual going on about that. That story, to me, it just encourages me.
I think on the AI thing too, is AI is fully reactive. It's educated on everything that's happened to this point. But what the heart wants tomorrow, that's much harder to predict. It's not emotionally predictive.
Of course it's scary because it's completely unknown. Mm-hmm. And we're all looking at each other like, what the... And I had this discussion with my son. Don't you think that we're going to be like, in 10 years from now, I'm going to be searching out for music that I know was made by humans. And that's what I'm going to listen to. I just don't feel like the general... I don't feel like I think people are going to seek out music.
Well, I think humans are the curators. You make your 20 song demos for Matt that took you half a day each, or you could have done those with AI in a fraction of the time and just curated the bits and pieces and go, oh, I'm going to keep that keyboard part, but the guitar part's wrong. Let's do something different. Or, it gets you in the zone, like programming a drum part.
Because what you're talking about, a very primitive version of that would be like 20 years ago, you and me going through loops. Because we're just looking for something that's already done that will kick us off and be a diving board.